this week's episode of Stop, Look, and Listen, we catch up with CEO and founder of Partake Foods, Denise Woodard. We discuss starting the allergen-friendly company after her daughter's scare, the trials and tribulation of getting Partake Foods off the ground, Jay-Z becoming an investor, and more.
This is Stop, Look, and Listen, presented by the GOB Radio Network. I'm LaTroy Gardner. This week we have the founder and CEO of Partake Foods, Denise Woodard. How are you doing, Denise?
I am doing well. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, pleasure to have you as well. So what led to you starting Partake Foods?
So I spent most of my career at Coca-Cola, most recently in their venturing and emerging brands group, and had really no intention of ever leaving corporate America. And then my daughter came along. She may photobomb what we're doing here at some point, and she is 5 now, but right around her first birthday, we realized that she had a lot of food allergies. I was really frustrated with the options that existed from a taste perspective, from a nutritional perspective, and most of all, from a brand perspective. It felt like a lot of the food allergy brands were just that, brands made for people with food allergies. About her food allergies, and then having to pull out these snacks that her other friends were like, what is this that you're eating? And so when I couldn't find a solution I was happy with, I left my career at Coke and started Partake.
Okay, so could you explain the allergies that people encounter, and pretty much what the effects of eating foods with nuts and eggs in it would do to a person?
Well, it could kill them. So that's, I think, the difference between food allergies and intolerances. So a food allergy is an IgE response that your body's having, kind of viewing this allergen as an invader. There's 8 foods that account for 90% of food allergies. So it's peanuts, tree nuts, shellfish, fish, eggs, soy, milk, and wheat. My daughter's allergic to several tree nuts, corn, which is tricky because that's in everything, eggs, and bananas. And so we discovered it very much trial by fire. We'd done some allergy testing on her because she was like having eczema and other things that we maybe thought was a sign of her having food allergies. And they tested her and said, she's not allergic to peanuts, so give her peanuts as soon as possible, because if you don't start giving them to her, she could develop an allergy. And so we gave her this snack. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I was on a conference call with Wendy's. I remember it like yesterday. And the snack was just made of peanuts and corn. And as soon as she took a small bite, like her lips started to swell up, her tongue started to swell up. She turned blue in our living room. Thank God we had an EpiPen, and that's how we learned that she's allergic to corn.
Wow. So 1 out of 10 kids are affected with food allergies. So why is there such a short supply of food allergy friendly products available on the market?
The incidence of allergies in kids has doubled over the past 10 years. So the number continues to grow to the point that 2 kids in every classroom in America has life-threatening food allergies now. And, there's solutions that exist. I think that they often don't meet the modern consumer's needs. Maybe someone started the company 15 to 20 years ago and just wanted to have a safe solution, which I admire and applaud. But I think with the innovation that's existed in the ingredient space and from a branding perspective, there's a lot more that can be done to kind of normalize allergy-friendly snacks and foods.
Okay. So when you found out that your daughter had these allergies, what led you to decide that I need to start my own cookie company in order to make sure that she has snacks to eat on a daily basis?
Sure. So it was shortly after the scare with the food allergies, our nanny, Martha, who actually has some equity in the company now, it was her idea. She was like, your daughter has the most boring diet ever. And I was like, well, I can't find stuff that tastes good. And the stuff that I find, it has terrible ingredients. And I was telling her all the woes about shopping for a child with food allergies. And she was like, well, you should just start a food company. And I thought about that idea, and I entered a pitch competition a few weeks later, and we won with just an idea. And so that gave me the validation that I needed and the push that I needed to try to make this a reality.
Okay. So how did you initially fund the business?
So that pitch competition thankfully came with $10,000. So that is how we initially funded it. We then did a Kickstarter campaign, which was probably break even at best. And then we used our own family savings. So it got to the point, gosh, where we launched and we dipped into our savings some, but as we started to scale, the business got much more expensive. And so we were in the midst of raising some friends and family money, but the money was not coming in fast enough. So we got to the point where I'm, emptying my 401k. I sold my engagement ring. We were trying to fund it any way possible with our own personal finances.
Okay. Did you have moments when you wanted to throw in a towel on the company?
As weird as it sounds, no. I feel like I was meant to do this. It's crazy. I think there's this weird, unrealistic optimism that entrepreneurs have that makes you just believe that anything is possible. And so don't get me wrong, there's been so many downs where I was like, I don't know how we're going to get through this. But I just always some light would happen and I'd be like, okay, we're on the right path, and we would just keep going. So I never thought about quitting.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that from our own experience, where you can have a day where you receive rejection on 2 or 3 different occasions, but you have one phone call or one encounter where, it's almost like sunshine. It's like that positive news gives you that incentive to continue to push forward.
Yeah. I don't know, God or the universe or whatever. Somebody has something, and it's all how it seems to go. It's like when you're at the end of the rope, this thing happens and it opens back up and the rope gets longer.
Yes. So did you learn on the fly, or did you use experiences from Coca-Cola, or did you have mentors to assist you along the way?
Kind of a combination of all three. So lots of Googling, lots of cold emailing people who are now mentors and advisors to me. And then things from Coca-Cola, there's some things that I wanted to take to Partake, and then some things I wanted to leave behind. I think, the principles of building a brand and the importance of that, processes and I don't want to say hierarchy. The processes part, I think, is important. I took that from Coke. But some of the other stuff, like the politics and the hierarchy and the bureaucracy that sometimes exists in a large corporate environment, I left behind.
Okay. So when you started out, was it a business of one, or did you have other investors on board as well?
So we were a business of one full-time employee all the way from the day that we started, which was August 1st, 2017 is when I left Coke, all the way until January of this year. So we had part-time people working with us and consultants working with us here and there, but it was just me in the business every day.
Okay. So you said that you received the first funding for Partake Foods from a pitch contest. How do you feel about working through banks to get small business loans? Is that something that you would advise to do, or take your path?
I think it depends on the business. We couldn't get a small business loan. There was a certain amount of personal collateral that needed to be put up that we just didn't have. And then also particularly for consumer brands, you're not usually profitable in the beginning. And so the bank either wants some sort of asset or collateral or profitability and these things that we didn't have. So, I think if it's an option that's available to you at a friendly interest rate, definitely explore that. But for us, it just wasn't a viable option.
Okay, you're listening to Stop, Look, and Listen. This is LaTroy Gardner. We're being joined this week by Denise Woodard, founder and CEO of Partake Foods. So let's talk about the cookies. What type of flavors do you have available?
So we have 8 flavors of cookies, pretty indulgent flavors. So we have the birthday cake and a triple chocolate. But I think what differentiates our products from a lot that are on the market are the clean ingredients. So they're made with organic ancient grain flours like buckwheat and cassava, nothing artificial, really ingredients that you can understand and may have in your own pantry. But although they're allergy friendly and gluten free and somewhat healthy, we think that they taste just like normal cookies. And so the taste component was really the most important thing to us.
Okay. What type of testing must your cookies go through to ensure that there's no allergens?
I thought you were going to say taste testing. I was going to say my daughter is the main judge.
Well, you can sign me up too.
Definitely. From an allergen perspective, we work with a top 8 allergen-free facility. to produce our products. We require a certificate of inspection for every ingredient that comes in from our supplier, saying that there was no allergens in their supply chain. And then we're testing the finished products for wheat and for peanuts.
Okay. Do you have plans for any new flavors?
Definitely, not necessarily on new flavors, although we do have a seasonal flavor coming out later this year, but different products. So when I think of brands like Annie's Organic and how they have a presence in every aisle of the grocery store, that's my dream for Partake. Like, as much as I would love to live off of cookies, I think there's definitely much more that should make up a person's diet. And so our goal is to fulfill every meal and snack occasion of the day at some point.
That was actually going to be my next question. So what aisle do you plan on tackling next, or is that like a top-notch secret?
You know, I think the product is probably a secret, but I think it's important for brands, especially with limited funding and brand awareness initially, to try to stay in that same aisle. You know, if we're cookies, then think about other things that are in that same aisle that aren't necessarily cookies, where somebody may say, oh, I know this brand, I like the cookies, maybe I'll try this. I think it's really hard when a brand goes from like cookies to, say, Hot Pockets, because you just don't have any familiarity in that section of the store. From a supply chain perspective, adding in something frozen when you're already doing like not frozen is often difficult. So we want to try to keep it as simple as possible, but also bring our consumers something new and exciting.
Okay. Could you talk to us about your husband and the support that is necessary from a partner when getting a business off the ground?
Yeah, it's definitely a family affair. So my husband is a banker by trade, and so he gets charged with doing fun stuff like building all of our models and reviewing our financials, but he also gets to do the dirty work. Like, he would leave work at the office some days and go to grocery stores and do demos for me. We've spent so many weekends as a family working trade shows. Like, I think that for a business to be successful, everyone in the family really has to be on board.
Exactly. So how did Partake Foods get on the radar of Jay-Z?
Yeah, so Marcy Venture Partners, Jay-Z's venture fund, led our seed round of funding last summer. And it was an intro through a friend of a friend to their team. And, you know, when you look at the three partners there, Jay and Jay Brown and Larry Marcus, they're all fathers. They're all passionate about making the world a better place and really advancing culture. And so our product and our brand and our story resonated with them, and they've been phenomenal partners.
Are they vocal at all, or they pretty much leave everything up to you as far as the business model and the execution of like where Partake Foods is going next?
You know, we do have a board, so we have some governance, and there's reporting on a quarterly basis that I'm providing in terms of financials and innovation and how the business is performing. So, you know, just like any other investor, they're very engaged in what's going on with the business and just maintaining their fiduciary responsibility. But they're also phenomenal in terms of being able to go bounce ideas off of it and get their feedback, as they've all built really successful consumer brands in the past. So it's a combination of the both, honestly.
Okay. So is there an adjustment from going to small time entrepreneurs selling cookies out of the trunk of your car to millions of dollars invested in your brainchild and having more heads to bounce ideas off of?
As much as I would have expected there to be, no, not really. I mean, my day is made up of different things now. It's a lot more, meetings and reviewing financials than it is delivering cookies. But I think the same principles apply. Like, we're so focused on the product and making sure it meets a need for our consumer and pleases our consumer. We're so focused on building a sustainable business and building something that's growing responsibly, but still growing, and building a company culture that I'm proud of. And so the principles really are the same. It definitely, like, the numbers have gotten bigger and the accounts have gotten bigger, but managing the down the street store in Brooklyn and managing Whole Foods, there's not that much difference, honestly, which I wouldn't have thought, if you'd asked me a couple of years ago.
Okay. So with the pandemic that we've been dealing with over the last 3 or 4 months, has that impacted Partake Foods in any way? Maybe smaller orders going out to these stores, or some of them having to cancel orders with Partake Foods?
You know, it's been a bittersweet time because I think our nation actually has two pandemics going on. And so with this new awakening of all the racial injustice and systemic racism that exists in our country, there's been a lot of support for Black owned and minority owned businesses. And so we reap the benefits of it. From a business perspective, I feel good. From a timing perspective, we, in June, on our website, have done more in sales than we did in all of 2019. But thankfully, we actually have a partnership with the Food Equality Initiative this month, where we're donating 10% of our sales to support food insecure families with food allergies, which are unfortunately disproportionately Black and Latino. So we've been able to support over 2,000 families because of the support that's come our way. So, you know, actually business is really good right now. So we're trying to use the good that's coming our way to hopefully put some more good into the world. We're creating a Mentor Mondays program where I work with other women founders and women of color specifically to help work through any business challenges they're going through and just really help answer questions and be a sounding board to them.
Okay. Do you have any words of advice for budding entrepreneurs?
Just get started. Seth Goldman, the founder of Honest Tea, gave me that advice when I was like, I don't know if I should leave Coke. I don't know if I should do this. This doesn't feel perfect. And I just like had read so many articles about people like when they launched their company having this like big fancy launch party and all this funding. And it was just like me in a storage unit. And I was like, this doesn't feel like it's good enough, but it is, because it's just getting out there and getting the product out there, and everything is going to change over time as you get feedback from your consumer. But if you don't ever just get started, you'll never know. So I think it's important to just get going.
Okay, so where can we find Partake Foods?
I'm really proud to share that we, we finished last year in about 300 stores. So I wouldn't have been able to have as many places to tell you, but this year you can find us in 3,000 stores. So you can find us in Target nationwide. You can find us in Sprouts, the Fresh Market, on our website, partakefoods.com. And we're expanding across Whole Foods next month.
Okay, so feel free to plug Partake Foods on social media.
Yeah, you can find us across all the social channels, Pinterest and Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram at Partake Foods with an S. And that's also our website, partakefoods.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Denise, for stopping by and sharing your amazing story. It's always inspiring to hear how individuals take a negative and turn it into a positive. And I'm sure there's plenty of parents that thank you every day for providing a healthy snack that their kids, or even, us as adults, could enjoy without any concerns of it causing any harm down the road. So thank you for stopping by the show this week.
Of course.
And
thank you for having me.
We will continue to support you and get the word out.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
All right, you too.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe. And also check out our website, gobradionetwork.com.